it seems like there's a group of people that believe that there's a disconnect from being Christian. And honestly, I'm just gonna say it like it is. They think it's a disconnect between being Christian and being black,
Mm.
and what we experience, and what we're passionate about, and as if we have to shut our blackness in order to be Christian. Can
Hmm.
you can you speak into that a little bit, bro? Like, just kind of sharing your thoughts on how you view, a lot of the things that have been happening and your stance, how you view your stance, and why it's important for you to take the stance that you're taking to help a Karen out who may be watching or listening, and just like, I don't get it. All lives matter, just
Yeah.
making comments and remarks about that. Or let's wait until the tape, shows the full evidence of what, you know what I mean? Just little
Yeah.
remarks like that that don't really help, that aren't helpful at all. Can you help them out?
Yeah. So I think, and everything I'll say probably would be my stance, quote unquote. But it's kind of like even in a situation where we might say Black Lives Matter, or we might talk about Ahmaud Arbery before all of the details come out, and we jump and we say, well, obviously this guy was killed. Like, there's no due process.
Right.
First of all, there were no police called. Like, he was not in the process of being even arrested. He was not in the middle of a crime. And so, like, you just see this guy get killed, and it's like people immediately start making either excuses or people start making statements, right? And so it's like, for the people that might have a hard time wrapping their minds around whether it's Black Lives Matter or things of that nature, uh, or things that might fall under that umbrella within this movement, I think, man, the disconnect isn't, obviously it's implied within you asking, but the disconnect is not the fact that, like, I have to disconnect my blackness from my Christianity. Is literally I have to disconnect, and there is a disconnection, obviously,
Mm.
between my blackness and white supremacy, right?
Yeah.
And I think
Mm.
that the lines have been blurred, just literally, and this is not a new phenomenon as I've been reading and studying. Like, white supremacy and American Christianity have deep ties, right? And I think that, like, a lot of people who claim Christianity, they are historic, they are unaware of the historical, like, implications and things that have happened. And, like, literally, like, you look what 60s, like in the 50s, 60s, in the civil rights area, or in the civil rights era, like, literally people did not like Martin Luther King Jr., even though now they would say, well, of course what he was fighting for was a good thing. Like, he had like only like a 22% approval in like Gallup polls. Like, people hated the man, but obviously what he was fighting for was good. And I think that, like, whether it's people's political alliances, or whether it's their geographical location, whether it's their proximity to other people who are not like them, that literally puts blinders on them. And I think that just like is people, and I thought about tweet, I think I did tweet this yesterday, but I think I'm at the point where, like, stupid is no longer an insult. Like, stupid is
Mm.
like, people are just stupid and they're ignorant, right? And ignorant literally just means that you don't know something. And I think people a lot of times, for the most part, let me put emphasis on the word most. For the most part, people just don't know, right? They have
Yeah.
not they have not done the history. They have not, like, they don't know the surrounding context of, like, everything that's going on. And so they jump the gun and make judgments, they make decisions, they make posts, they make statements without knowing everything. And that's what really, I think, makes people be on the wrong side of history and the wrong side of, like, these issues that come up, is literally because of ignorance. And I
Yeah.
just think too that, like, a key indication of if you're more probably entrapped within white supremacy than Christianity is if a person dies and you make excuses for their death instead of being empathetic towards a person's life being lost. Like,
Mm.
I think that, like, if you apply the gospel to just like any random predicament or situation, right? So, like, we all technically deserve to die, right? Because of the all of the bad things that we have done. Our punish, like, our sin warrants literal death. If it were not for Jesus, that's what we would get. And so it's like we don't apply that same grace to people who like maybe in certain situations where like people automatically pin on them, well, he was doing something wrong. It's like, well, he still didn't deserve to die. And it's like
Mm.
people still miss that part of like having empathy and not being so quick to make a judgment or speaking that like I believe that is a key indicator of if a person is more so walking out the theology or the ideology of white supremacy rather than Christianity, because Christianity informs us that like we should be leading with love. And if a person loses their life, then I like love says, wow, like
Yeah.
I'm like that is so horrible, like that's not a good thing. Like, but white supremacy wrapped in Christianity says, well, they must have deserved that some type of way.